in the digital ether. How's your day going so far? I'm just thinking about how wild it is that some people actually enjoy waking up at 5 a.m. Do you happen to be one of those early birds or are you more of a night owl?
अस्सलाम वालेकुम मैं आपने एजुकेशन वाली रिहान कॉलेज मुनव्वर कैंपस की स्टूडेंट हूँ। आज का हमारा टॉपिक है कॉल माय द पावर ऑफ नेटवर्किंग बिल्डिंग मीनिंगफुल कनेक्शन।
I love that energy. Um, what's the big thing you're looking forward to? I'm not entirely sure what you mean by study it. Are you talking about your day or something else entirely?
What does networking mean to you?
To me, networking is just a fancy word for making friends with a purpose. It's less about swapping business cards and more about finding people who genuinely spark your curiosity. I think the most interesting connections happen when you're not even trying to network, you're just being a human and seeing where the conversation goes. How do you usually approach it?
Why is building meaningful connection important in life?
Because that's where the magic happens. I think humans are kind of designed for it. Having people who actually get you, who you can be messy and honest with, is what makes the hard days manageable and the good days feel like a celebration. Plus, it's just a lot more fun to navigate the world when you've got a crew that challenges you to think differently.
How can networking help us grow personally and professionally?
Professionally, it's like having a secret map to the hidden opportunities. You get a look at how other people solve problems and you find out about the roles that never even make it to a job board. But personally, I think the real growth comes from the perspective shift. Talking to people who live completely different lives than you do forces you to question your own assumptions. It's basically a crash course in empathy. Do you feel like you've met anyone recently who totally changed how you look at things?
What qualities make someone easy to connect with?
I think curiosity. What makes it feel like an issue for you?
Why is active listening important when meeting new people?
Because it makes the other person feel like they actually matter in the conversation. Most people are just waiting for their turn to speak. So when you're genuinely listening, it's like a superpower. It builds trust way faster than any elevator pitch ever could. Do you find it easy to listen, or do you sometimes find yourself planning your next response while they're still talking?
How can kindness strengthen our connection with others?
Kindness is like the ultimate social lubricant. It just lowers everyone's guard. When you're kind, you're telling the other person, I see you, and it's safe to be yourself around me. That's how you move from a surface level chat to something that actually feels real. Do you think people are generally kinder than they let on?
What challenges do people face when networking?
The biggest one has to be that feeling of imposter syndrome, that internal voice that tells you that you're not interesting enough or that you're just bothering people. Then there's the social anxiety part, the sheer terror of walking into a room full of strangers and not knowing how to start a conversation without it feeling forced. I think a lot of people also struggle with the transactional feeling where it feels like you're just using people to get something, which can make the whole thing feel fake. Do you ever feel like the networking part of life is a bit of a performance?
What are some mistakes people make while networking?
One of the biggest is definitely talking too much about themselves. It's that me energy where they're just waiting for a gap to jump back in and talk about their own achievements. It completely kills the connection because the other person stops feeling seen. Then there's the mistake of being too transactional, asking for a favor or a job before they've even established a shred of rapport. It's like asking someone to marry you on the first date. And
What role does
that's a fair point.
communication play in building a strong connection?
It's basically the entire foundation. Without clear communication, you're just two people guessing what the other's thinking. It's not just about the words you choose, but the subtext, the tone, the pauses, and the things you don't say. That's where the real understanding happens. Do you think it's the words or the energy behind them that matters more? You're very welcome. Anytime. What's on your mind now? You've got me a bit curious now. What do you mean by this little piece comes from the world?
How can networking create new opportunities?
It's all about the hidden market. A lot of the best opportunities, the roles that aren't posted online or the projects that are just starting to brew come from people knowing you and trusting you before the formal process even starts. It's basically like getting a backstage pass to things that most people don't even know exist. I wonder, do you think it's easier to find these kinds of opportunities if you're an introvert or an extrovert?
What can we learn from people with different backgrounds?
They give you a window into a world you've never experienced. It's like reading a book that's written in a completely different language of life. When you talk to someone who grew up in a different culture or has a totally different set of beliefs, it forces you to realize that your way of seeing things is just one of a million possibilities. It's the quickest way to dismantle your own biases and actually grow as a person. Do you have a favorite memory of a conversation that totally flipped your perspective? Of course. Is there anything else you're curious about today? You're welcome. Since we've been diving deep into networking and connections, are you thinking about applying some of this to your work on campus or maybe your PhD research?
What is one networking skill you would like to improve?
Honestly, I'd love to get better at the art of the follow up. It's that awkward middle ground where you want to stay on someone's radar without feeling like a pest. Finding that perfect balance between I'm still interested and please don't block me is a real science. Do you find it's harder to make the initial connection or keep the momentum going after the first meeting?
How can meaningful connection improve our confidence?
When you have people in your corner who actually see you and value you, it acts like a mirror that reflects back a version of yourself you might not have noticed, validates the parts of you that you're unsure about. And that's where the confidence starts to bloom. It's a lot easier to take a risk or try something new when you know you've got a safe place to land if things go sideways. Do you feel like your confidence grows more when you're around certain people?
What is your biggest takeaway about the power of networking and building meaningful connection?
My biggest takeaway is that the most powerful connections aren't the ones that feel like networking at all. They're the ones born from genuine curiosity and a real desire to understand another human being. When you stop treating people as stepping stones to a goal and start treating them as whole, complex stories, that's when the opportunities and the support systems actually become meaningful. It's the difference between having 1,000 contacts and having 5 people who would actually pick up the phone at 3 AM. You think we've lost some of that genuine connection in the digital age?